Have you ever wondered why at some events you just think, oh, this is not good. It's just no atmosphere. And other events you're like, whoa, how good is this? Typically, there's one thing that makes all the difference. Welcome back to the Making Events awesome live stream. Warwick Merry here, your host, triple award winning, international award winning, triple certified, you name it, we've got it. Out they go, shoppers. So often people would say to me, how do we lift the energy? How do we make it more engaging? How do we make it just sort of, happen? And there's one thing that makes a really big difference. It's often overlooked. At a recent event that I was at, I would even talk to them about like, oh, we could do this, and they wouldn't do it. And of course, I'm talking about the seating. Yes, it's the seating. Have you ever walked into a room where you've got maybe 200 seats, but only got about 90 delegates, and everyone's spread out? And humans, being humans, will always sit at the back. And no matter how often you say, hey, come on, move to the front, everybody move to the front, come on, move at the front, they just don't do it. So there's a couple of things you can do to really lift that energy and lift the atmosphere in the room by getting the people to not necessarily move, but sit in different positions. So let's look at how you do that. It's also important to understand the demographic, not the demographics, but the change in your delegates over the course of your event, be it for a 1 day or for 2 days. And you need to be able to plan and make adjustments for that. So let's talk seating. First up, let's just talk your standard convention. Typically, you're going to be having conference, banquet seating, or open rounds, call them what you will. Now, you know that people are going to sit at the back. My personal opinion is you're always happy to have, it's always better to have too fewer seats than it is to have too many. So plan for that. If you know you've got 100 delegates, only have seating for 100, if not 90, and then have some chairs stacked at the back to, get people to have last minute seating. It makes the place feel more desired. Oh my God, we have a full house versus, oh, I've got, tables of 6, but 2 people at every table across the room. That it's, as for us, the speakers, it's really hard because the energy is really dispersed. So I would suggest to you that have fewer seats. That'll force people to sit at the front. That'll force people to have full tables. And then you can either add tables or simply chairs at the back. This is particularly important for if you're doing breakout rooms. I recently was hosting a breakout room, and they had 300 delegates for the session, 3 breakout rooms. So they put 100 chairs. Somehow it ended up being 150 in the breakout room that I was hosting, which was the lesser. There's always the main room, cut it in half, and then we'll have a lesser one. So I was there. So we had probably 50 people in the room with 150 seats. The energy wasn't right. That would have been far better to have 40 seats, but a couple of stacks of 10 that we could go, oh, you're here, quick, we'll move it around. Doing that makes a big difference. The other thing is when you're selecting your venue, I've seen events happen at venues where they typically will have theatre seating. So if you have a stage performance with ticketed seating, and they're great if you're selling ticketed seating, not so much if it's a conference. Everybody sits at the back. If you've got a steep incline, a lot of delegates, particularly those wearing high heels, they're not going to go downstairs. It's risky enough wearing high heels. Trust me, I've tried. So they're going to stay towards the back. It just makes it a whole lot harder. So you have to consider, is this the right venue? And when you're thinking about your delegate numbers, often I've heard people say, oh, yeah, we've got 400 delegates. Great. How many of those are the exhibitors who won't be attending the session? Oh, that's 100. So you really only have 300 delegates, don't you? And what happens if as we get to the second day, people leave early? We know that people leave early. We know day one's always packed. Day two, you don't have as many for the opening session because we've all hung out last night, maybe had a beverage too many, or maybe we're sleeping in. And then by the end of the second day, people have got, well, I've got to leave. I've got stuff to do. You end up having about half the number of delegates. So make sure your seating takes that into account. At lunchtime on the second day or overnight, don't have as many seats there. Have some taken away. After lunch, don't add the seats back. If you have broken the main room in half, maybe the second half of the day you only hold in half. Do what it takes to manage the seating, because when you do that, it'll force everyone to get together, which forces that energy. You get like molecules and parts of an atom, as they together, there's a lot more energy. So you're getting that energy in the room, which is then reflected towards the speaker, which just builds that atmosphere. And that's what we're after. You can't have a restaurant on the moon. No atmosphere. Sorry for the dad joke. Love to hear what you've done with your seating. How have you made the seating a champion of your event? I'm not a fan of the long rows, classroom style. It makes it really hard to get in and out. So I really do love the open rounds or the banquet seating, and really managing that. It doesn't take a great deal of effort. Your venue will pretty much look after it if you instruct them what to do. As I say, you're always better to have too few seats, where you can just say to people, oh, we're getting some more seats brought in. And it just helps make them feeling more important, and it forces people to scrunch up. So you're not forever going, oh, come and sit at the front, because no one does it. Oh, the other thing you can do is, and I've done this a lot for so many of my events, is I'll stand at the door as people are coming in and chuckle them into the front seats. So I'll be saying things like, oh, best seat's the front row seat. Oh, it's a great view from there. Come and sit in the front. And anyone who sits in the front, I always make a point of saying thank you to them and highlighting them as a rock star. So there are a couple of things you can do to manage your seating. Love to hear what you've done. So bang it in the comment section. Let me know what you've done, and look at how we can increase the energy and atmosphere of your events. If you want to find out more things about events in terms of how you can make events awesome, come and join us. There's a bit of a hangout happening over in this group area, Making Events Awesome. Love to have your company there, and we just share a whole little different secrets about events and how we can make it awesome. I'll be back again next Thursday, 9 a.m. I'm, to be frank, I have missed the last couple of Thursdays. I've been traveling. I was in Cairns having a great time. But every Thursday, except for the ones I'm not here, at 9 a.m. Melbourne time is when we do our Making Events Awesome live stream for a quick burst. Thanks for being here. I hope you've had a bit of fun. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be... Oh, look, there's stuff in the chat. I missed that completely. Here we go. Facebook user. Thank you, Facebook user. Or no, that's LinkedIn user. Facebook users here. Yay for Facebook user. I've got to click a link or something. I don't know what I'm doing. It's all joyous. We'll make it fun. Thanks for being here. See you next week. Whee!